The issue is that we're not demanding that those people start thinking differently about their businesses. And actually, the interesting thing is that I've actually become busier in the last few months.
So that's the key right there, what you're saying. We need to start thinking differently. Okay, and I'll give you an example based on that. We keep on hearing, we need government bailouts. That seems to be the solution today.
Yeah.
We've gone in over our heads, so we're relying on the governments to bail us out.
Yeah, so in other words, let's enshrine the mediocrity that brought us to this point to begin with. It's exactly what it is. I mean, if you reward people, you know, it's like if I run up my credit cards really high, right, and then somebody comes and bails me out and pays all my credit card bills, then it's like, oh,
the same pattern will repeat itself.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go use the credit cards again. I'll just wait for them to bail me out again, and if they did it once, they'll do it again. And so, you know, the problem is that, you know, auto manufacturers, a lot of them are doing well. I mean, Honda's doing well, Toyota's doing well, Kia's doing well. There are companies doing well.
It's competition.
It's called competition.
That's the name of the game now.
And you know what? It's like a fever. Sometimes you got to weed out the infection, and you know, these companies have to start thinking differently. If you know, and this is the other thing. If GM was focused on fuel economy cars, if they had developed a line like the hybrid with Toyota when they were doing with the electrical car, they wouldn't be in this shape.
So this is what you're about, flexible thinking,
yes.
Okay? Now, you're saying that now, in this kind of an economy, you're busier than ever before. Give us an overview of why, Michael.
Well, a lot of organizations that I'm starting to work with are trying to shift their culture from the idea of a loyalty mindset to a performance-based mindset. Because of this exact issue, nobody can guarantee a job. So in a lot of organizations where, you know, and very progressive organizations where they've really taken care of their people, sometimes people become like, well, you know, I'm here a long time, I'm going to be here forever. And so what they want to do is that they want to start shifting people to think differently, to become problem solvers, so that even if they take care of them, the idea is that you're a performance person. And I think you see this even with the generations in the workplace now. The Gen Yers are really looking at, here's what I offer, here's what I can do, and here's what I expect you to do for me. I don't expect to be here for life. And you can't take care of me for life. And a lot of organizations want that kind of mindset now.
So you're talking about a shift in expectations here, because one thing we're seeing, people that have been loyal to companies for many times decades, does this mean that employer-employee loyalty, that kind of a thing, no longer exists today?
You know what? It does. It never did. It was a myth. I mean, let me give
it's just a change in time, you're saying.
Well, it is a change. Businesses can't depend on, let me give you 1995. Let's just take 1995. A guy named Ari DeGue from Harvard, who's now at Harvard, but he used to be head of strategic planning for Shell. He wrote a wonderful book called The Living Company. And in this book, what he did is he looked in 1995 at the Fortune 500 from 1975, 20 years earlier. All he did was count the Fortune 500 companies that no longer existed. And in 20 years, he said 1/3 of those corporations were gone off the face of the earth. I mean, do you remember who the biggest video game manufacturer was in the 70s? Atari.
That's true. That rings a bell now that you say it.
You know, I mean,
generations ago.
Oh yeah, or you know, the leader.
Seems that way.
Even in home computers, Commodore.
My goodness.
And gone, right? I mean, we're talking billion-dollar corporations that literally have the shelf life of half of a working life of an individual. And what he looked at is he said, you know, why is it some companies, and he looked at the New York Stock Exchange, he said, 10 companies founded the New York Stock Exchange. Only one of them is still in existence today out of the 10 that were the founders of the New York Stock Exchange, which is General Electric.
Yes.
And so there was General Westinghouse, you know, there was all these other companies, but they're gone. And the reason that they're gone is that they are not have not been adaptable. It's like nature. It's like, I hate to say it, in a sense, it's business Darwinism.
Well, it becomes a sad reality of survival of the fittest today, which is sad, but that's what we've come to.
We've always been that. I mean, if you can't produce value, and that's the myth of loyalty, is that no organization can guarantee you, not even the government can guarantee you a job for life. Because if you can't perform, and I'm not saying, you know, you have to, you know, I guess what I'm not saying is you have to be a slave. The idea is that also it empowers you. You have to be an empowered person. So
you're giving an analogy here. In the same way that many businesses did not thrive over the years because they lack the flexibility and the adaptability, in the same way individuals can be the same way.
Exactly.
And they need to shift that kind of a thinking.
Yeah, they do. I mean, that's the only competitive, sustainable advantage for any person or any organization is its ability to innovate and change. And if you think about it in nature and everything else, things that change and innovate are the things that survive.
So we're going to actually go to a break on that note. The issue of change. Well, we know that people generally don't like change, so we're going to be talking more about adapting to it. Remember, our phone lines are open. If you have a question for us today, don't hesitate. We'll be back after this. Stay tuned.